Hi, this video is about which line you should be using and which rod you should be using and what the best one is. Because I see a lot of posts online. What's the best rod I should get, or what line should I use for streamers, or what's the best casting line for me? I have a 5-weight Sage or something like that. And I teach at the the Trout Unlimited Fly Fishing School. And I teach the intermediates, which are people that are still pretty new to fly fishing but want to increase their skills. So most of them, just need to work on casting skills and just get better and better and better. So I had one student this weekend who's a doctor, so he had some nice equipment, and he had picked up a number of rods and reels and stuff, but he was having trouble casting with the rod he had, and we kept working on things, and his timing was off or something. So then we started to figure it out. He had a number of other rods and reels, and he said, should I? He lived near where the school was. And so he said, should I bring, like some of my other rods, and maybe, they'll work better or something. And one of the things that I've always talked about but haven't really had an experience with is that each person has a particular style and stroke. Especially in the beginning, you develop one. As you fish a lot and cast a lot and use different rods and reels, you become adaptable. But most people they've got their timing on their particular style. Rods are made in a million different ways to basically fit each person's style. So all these different rod designs work differently with different people. That's why some people will say, oh, I love my Sage da 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 da, or I love my Orvis da 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 da, or I love my whatever it happens to be, Winston or whatever. And it's because that rod, they've finally bumped across the rod that fits their particular style. Now the other part of the rod is the line. Some lines work better on some rods, and they work in conjunction with the person. So I've got a little thing here. So we have a person. That's going to be consistent. This is somebody who's been fishing for maybe a couple of years, and they've finally got a cast. That's good. Now we have a rod, and so we have rod 1 with line A. Seems to work kind of okay. Oop, I'm losing my phone here. Hang on, kids. Okay, and so that seems to be working okay. So I said, well, let's see what else you got. So he kept the line and went to rod 2. So now he has rod 2 and line A. The cast was a little better, but still it was, he had good technique. He knew exactly what the issues were, and it just wasn't working, So then we took out this line and we put in line B. He had another rod that had a different line. So now, so this variable is staying the same, but now we have rod 2 and line B. So we tried that, and that was kind of okay. And then we said, well, wait a minute. What if we go back to rod 1? So now we have rod 1 and line B. And that was doing it. All of a sudden, his casts were just perfect loops, backwards and forwards and this way and that way. He also had another line. So then we pulled this line out, and he had line C. Oh, I have to do that. And so now he had rod 1 and line C. And that looked great, so then he's doing perfect. So then we started fooling around some more, and then went back to rod 2 with line C. Are you getting my drift here? Okay, there's lots and lots of variables. There's lots and lots of variables, and sometimes you just have to play around. Find some friends with different rods and lines, get together and start mixing and matching. See what rod fits your style, but then you also have to deal with what rod and line combination are going to fit your particular style. As it turns out, we ended up with, let's see, we ended up with rod 2 and line, I think it was line B, and that seemed to be the trick with him. And it just happened to be that was the one that worked. It just clicked. It looked perfectly. He was able to then cast well with that, and I imagine he will use that combination for the next year or so of fishing, next year, maybe 2 years. And then his ability to vary his style will then allow him to use different line and rod characteristics. I mean, I've been casting so many rods and so many student rods that after about 1 or 2 strokes, I can adjust my cast to meet whatever these 2 variables there are. So now I have a whole list of variables that I can match those things to. But if you're fairly new, you'll probably have a particular style, and then you know, maybe you'll win a rod and a reel at a banquet or something, and then you use them and it's like they feel terrible. It's because you can't switch. It's not easy to switch back and forth. They don't match your style of casting. So don't be discouraged by like a new rod or reel. But on the other hand, just someone's general recommendation that, gee, this particular rod works great for me, doesn't mean it's going to work great for you. Everybody's got different casting strokes. There was a number of people in our group, and we switched rods a few times, and the other person was able to cast fine with the rod that this guy was not casting well with. So it's a real mixed bag, and I wish everybody could like walk out of a store with 3 or 4 or 5 lines and 3 or 4 or 5 rods. Of course, then you multiply the lines by the rods, and then that's how many variables you get. So then, you know, so that each person could try out what they're going to do. And that's why shopping at a smaller shop is really good. Something you might want to consider when you go to a shop is, if you feel like the rod is maybe good, try a couple different lines on it. Usually the shops will have different lines spooled up so that you can try, you know, rod 1 with line A, B, and C. And then you'll actually see quite a difference. It's amazing how all 3 of those variables fit together. Okay? So that's my quick tip for today. It was just one of those things that I always knew was there, but didn't have the opportunity to actually experience it. I do have a number of rods myself, and I do have a number of lines, and over the years I've sort of filtered those things around, and I have certain lines I use with certain rods, and you know, that work with me for whatever particular reason that I have to do. So it's definitely a very cool thing. So give that a try, think about it, and recommend the rod to yourself. Okay, don't necessarily listen to other people. All right, that's all I have for today. See ya, bye.